Another week has passed.
And we have a long weekend coming, man. Forget the past. Leave the past in the past. Think about the future. Look at what you've got.
Live in the
Coming ahead.
present. The present.
That's better. That's better. I agree with that one.
Isn't that some Indian culture motto?
Yes. Yeah, but it's also a motto that the present is anicca, as they say, which is constantly changing. But okay, without getting into too much gyan, that's Ben. This is Rohan. Hey guys, welcome to another week of Hello SportsTech Live.
It is April 1st, special date, right? New quarter, new news. Yeah, how are you feeling? Just let's talk a minute about how you're doing.
Yeah, no, actually, as you know, I was a bit under the weather this week. Yeah, my throat is a bit still not 100%. I think it was changing weather of Berlin. Yesterday was beautiful, sunny, 24 degrees, great day to be out. Today is windy and a bit raining, and it's a bit gray again. So the changing weather usually gets me. But other than that, pretty good. Happy, looking forward to a nice long weekend. A lot of restrictions, but we'll try to be safe about it.
Yeah, and
you?
Without saying too much, you and I, we're gonna meet on Saturday probably to have a little, let's say, battle.
Something. There will be some games played, some knights drawn.
Ooh. Leave it there. Yeah. And the outcome will be seen not next week, but the week after, right?
Probably, yeah.
Cool. Then I think it's time to jump to why we're actually here, which are the top 5 news of the week. In the usual structure that we do a countdown from number 5 to number 1. And I'm actually happy that I can lean back a little bit more than in the last 2 weeks, because then I had to present 3 out of the top 5. This time, you kick it off. I just enjoy the show from the background, from the backstage, and we'll say a few things after you're done with your part.
All right, Ben, enough of you. Get out of here. All right, let's kick this off. We are starting with some news about Peloton. Well, if anybody who caught the show last week, please subscribe to our channel. If you haven't already, you'll get notified every time the show goes live. But if you were on our show last week, you heard us talking about Peloton, and I was in fact our top story last week. But all the cool stuff that they're doing, it's really becoming much bigger than a fitness brand. It's pretty clear that they think of themselves as more than just a bike company. They have partnerships with Adidas, they have partnerships with Beyonce in the music space, and also in that Beyonce partnership, they singled out music as a big driver of the fitness experience. Well, here is another example of them putting that speech into practice. They've launched a partnership with Verzuz. Verzuz is a collaboration, and here I'll refer to my notes, between Swiss Beats, which is Swiss Beats, but with a lot of Z's, and Timbaland. Some cool names that 90s and early 2000s, well, millennials will know. Just epic music, R&B music producers who have created a brand called Verzuz. Verzuz is basically battles between 2 artists, right? And they'll create musical experiences combining like with 2 artists battling each other. Now they add Peloton, or Peloton adds this musical layer in because it can create that kind of competition between 2 people who are riding the bike at the same time. How does this work? So they had their first one actually day before yesterday, where in celebration of Women's History Month, they had a battle between Brandy and Monica. again, names that any millennial will, and probably only millennials, I don't know, only millennials, your Gen Zs, educate yourself musically. If you don't know these names, it's a good women from the 90s. But yeah, basically battle between them. So you could either be Team Brandy or Team Monica, and you could be writing and could be listening to their music, and there would be this battle going on. It must have been a cool experience. I have to admit, I was not part of it. They didn't exactly draw me in, but I think it's a cool one from Peloton. Just more getting that idea of the connection between music and fitness deeper and deeper. That's why I like the story. Ben, which side would you be? Team Brandy, Team Monica?
Neither, probably. But I'm wondering when this show turned into let's do a recap of 90s music scene. But no, other than that, I think it's a good move. I mean, Peloton, like I said, is clearly experimenting on different fields. So I'm just wondering from a user perspective, right? Is that too much? Is that overwhelming, or will it at some point have this lock-in effect that I get everything I want just from my Peloton account? Similar approach as Apple does it. I think there are some parallels there. I mean, also in some ways not, but both are powerful, top-notch brands with lots of emotions involved. So I think they have a good chance to achieve this. So I wonder how they're going to integrate at some point. If I, as a customer, I'm not a customer yet so far, that didn't see one of their bikes, but I wonder if that is convenient for me or not.
Yeah, actually, Fit Insider on their newsletter raised a similar point. I mean, whether Peloton will actually launch a music brand or like their own Spotify version. Yeah, it's not unreasonable, shall we say, but to be seen, TBD.
Exactly. All right. Coming to news number 4. Here we go. We are talking about Lacrosse and also about audio content. This one here, this article from Sports Pro Media is already a week old, so it's already a little bit outdated, but the information is not less interesting. So let me walk you through it. The Premier Lacrosse League hosted their 2021 draft, so where they choose the new players, via Twitter Spaces, which is the new social audio feature from Twitter. You can compare it to Clubhouse, very similar. They're launching it publicly in April, and the Premier Lacrosse League had some beta access to host their draft. So what happened? The 8 coaches from the PLL, the Premier Lacrosse League, went through the 3 rounds of the draft, and they had 3 minutes to announce each pick. And after the 3 minutes, they would also do some analysis and interviews. So think about the typical drafts that you know, for example, from the NFL. And now instead of seeing it visually, you just go on Twitter Spaces, like I said, like Clubhouse, and you just listen to the draft. So from a fan perspective, from a user perspective, a different experience. And I've seen some footage from it, and I actually really like it. Of course it's different, and of course you would like to see the person celebrating and being happy. But I think especially in times of pandemic, that the timing was actually right. And also last year, the PLL made it a bit special. They made a social media event out of it, actually, where they announced these selections via posts on the coaches' accounts. So PLL may be a bit overlooked from an innovation perspective, but they're always trying something new, and like their openness, and also this idea I actually like. And connected to that, there was another news last week, which is that Spotify announced that they acquire Betty Labs, which is the company behind Locker Room, which is another audio app, also very similar to Clubhouse, but this one is focused on live sports. So especially for you out there who try to follow live sports and want to comment on it. They didn't disclose for how much they acquired it, but they said that they will rebrand it at some point. They will also bring it to Android. I think it's only available in iOS at the moment. And they will also give it a broader focus. So not only sports, but also music and culture. So bringing in all those topics who align so well with each other. And they also said that they're gonna experiment a little bit with some monetization features which I think is really interesting, especially as we live in a creator economy. Long story short, the content that we consume typically via audios or via live streams or video streams, so visual content, moves more and more into the audio part of things, and Clubhouse kicked things off, and now we see Twitter Spaces and also Locker Room / Spotify moving into that direction. That is what is to be known about this part. Ron, would you follow a draft on an audio platform, or do you need the visual elements there?
Actually, I really like the idea, specifically for drafts. I mean, it's always been, the actual draft is not much to watch visually. It's just a bunch of guys coming up and holding up jerseys. There's not that much visual panache, shall we say. But there's a lot of content to be consumed. I think audio is actually, this is a really good use case, I think, of audio being a good channel to consume this kind of content. So yeah, I like that idea. I think it's an interesting move. I also like the Spotify move. I mean, them being the owners of your audio experience, like we were talking about with Peloton, maybe the owners of your fitness experience, and maybe beyond that. And Spotify being everything audio that you ever want, that's a channel including sports, including that. I like that as well. I like both parts of the story.
Somehow for me, it's a bit different. In general, I like the audio part to have that available. But on the other hand, I remember so many drafts, maybe the NBA or the NFL, where there's some historic pictures, I don't know, Kobe Bryant drafted by the Charlotte Hornets wearing the Hornets cap, or players not getting drafted who then, I don't know, of course, sad, or others celebrating and crying and families hugging each other. So I think that what makes sports so special, like this emotional content, that gets lost a little bit. So for draft, I'm not sure. In general, I like that the PLL is experimenting, and audio content it's the cat is out of the box. You say the cat, something's out of the box, and you cannot put it back.
The cat goes back in the bag, and the jack is out of the box. I don't know.
The technology is out of the box. You cannot put it back.
One of those.
No cats harmed in this production.
The making of this video.
Go for the next one.
All right, perfect. Let's start with some Formula One news. Oh, sorry. This is just me listening to my favorite Brandy and Monica song. Let me close that for now. But no, talking about
this is so funny. I'm glad you messed it up and I wasn't the one. You were listening to Brandy and Monica as a preparation for this show.
Come on, man. Brandy and Monica, dude. I was getting on the Peloton. I was picking my battle. I had to pick a side.
I'm so happy that this is live content. We cannot cut it. But go ahead with Formula One. Enjoy.
Hey, I own my Brandy and Monica, man. I'm a 90s boy. But no, Formula One announces a multi-year partnership with Zoom. Okay, anything F1, I'm always like hella excited by. Of course, Drive to Survive, we talked about it a bit last week. The first race, can you please talk about that? We'll do that separately. Anybody who's on the chat, tell me how much you loved watching that battle between Hamilton and Verstappen. But here's the different piece. You could experience it in new ways now. So if anybody has ever been to an F1 track and actually done these very expensive paddock walks, they're like $4,000 or 4,000 euros, actually, I think. Depending on track to track, it does change, of course. But on average in Europe, it's about $4,000 for a 2-day pass, which is a lot of money, right? But you're walking down the pit lane, you're getting interview FaceTime with drivers, you're getting talked to by legends, and of course you get those beautiful restaurants, the Paddock Club, as it's called, that you get to be part of. Now, last year, everything was shut, not an option for anybody to go to any of these tracks. So what did Formula One do? And Formula One, I have to say, has been really on point. And ever since Liberty Media has come in, I give them a lot of props in the way they've managed to revive this sport. In fact, there was a stat I read which said 73 million new fans were added to F1 last year across a bunch of geographies. Where that figure came from, I don't know. But coming to the point of how they were doing is creating these interesting virtual experiences. And one of those was through Zoom, where last year you had Virtual Paddock Club, where If you actually saw the Drive to Survive, I think there's one episode with Lando Norris, you see him doing this, where there are a bunch of these screens, visual displays, and Lando's going from screen to screen, doing meets and greets with fans, and then going to the next, moving to the next. And I can imagine, like, as an actual F1 driver doing it, there would be paddock legends, different sponsors, different activations that you could do virtually for all the fans. Now, I was talking about paying $4,000 to get that experience over 2 days. Last year, the virtual paddock club was for free. I have no idea why I didn't know about this or how I could have signed up for it, but I just found out that they were not charged, which is very annoying for me. But I don't know what they're going to do about it for this year. But there will be something. That's the interesting thing. I think it's a really good expansion of a partnership. You're seeing a lot of Formula One teams do a lot of interesting things. We'll touch on Ben's favorite topic, which is their connection with crypto and with NFTs. That'll come. We talked about that last week. I think Oracle announced a partnership with Red Bull, which is getting deeper. I mean, Formula One has always been deep in their data analytics part. But I think this one is particularly for you, the fan, like me, who cannot go to races right now. But you could go and figure out exactly. I was trying to do that quickly, but I'll make sure I'll find exactly the details and post it somewhere, where how you, the fan, can sign up on the Virtual Paddock Club and be part of the race in more than just watching it. I really like this one. Ben, have I converted you officially? Are we going to watch the next race together?
Yeah, I know that you're a big fan, made by Netflix, so to speak. But I have to.
No, not made by Netflix. Born and bred. My first season was 1996. Damon Hill in that Williams Renault.
I watched all of that stuff as well. But while you were talking, I have to admit I wasn't really listening. I was finding some interesting footage on the internet. I'm not sure if you have seen that one.
That's me. That's a good moment. I like. Yeah, it's Randy and Monica.
I use the time wisely.
And this is them singing That Boy Is Mine. That's the song I was listening to. The song was This Boy Is Mine, and that's the boy that they were talking about. That's my song.
That is it. I mean, I don't know, 20, 30 years later, we have the solution. Fantastic. No, jokes aside. Yeah, I mean, I also like
top use of time, by the way. Top use of time.
I was sweating here. I had to be quick. But yeah, no, Formula One to reel it in. I mean,
I get Formula One. This is
Formula One.
Let's go to the next.
Okay. Let me quickly come to the next one then. Yeah, it's a good connection actually, and you mentioned it already. My favorite topic. We are gonna speak about NFTs and especially about this one. I mean, we can do a weekly show on just NFTs probably. This week's main news is probably that MotoGP successfully made the step into the NFT world. They released those packs here. I think there were over 9,000 packs available, something between $9 and $14 each, and all of them, as you can see, have sold out within a super short amount of time. So it seems like these days, whenever like the big leagues, the big brands, they put their NFTs on the market, they're being sold out immediately. And by the way, this collaboration is between the MotoGP and Animoca brands, and Animoca brands also has signed a contract with Man City, and so we can expect some Man City related packs or games at some point as well, because Animoca says that especially in the gamification side of things. So if you are a MotoGP fan and you buy those packs, let me scroll down a bit to see what they could actually look like. There's an example of a card here. Yeah, something like this. It's not just a plain card, so not just like a digitized Panini card or something. You can actually do something. So the so-called utility token. So you can participate in some fantasy sports game, and you can earn points, and you can get rewards. So that is the new way of working and using those cards. So that was super successful for them. What else happened in the NFT world this week? We saw something in the UFC, where I'm always afraid that I'm not pronouncing his name properly. Francis Ngannou, he bet on himself with a conditional NFT drop. Another example of what you can do with NFTs. So he created this beautiful looking NFT of himself and said it would only release if he would win his title fight, which he did. And the interesting thing is he sold this NFT and a few others for a total of 580,000 US dollar, which was more than his guaranteed fight purse. Imagine that. Yeah, he got more out of his NFT sale than he got from fighting in, I think it was UFC 260 or something. Really cool. And I could go on and show you other examples and other examples. Just one more is from the NFL with Julian Edelman from the New England Patriots releasing an NFT inspired by Pokemon, as you can see, but also some of himself in a comic style, of which or part of the proceeds will go into charity, which we have seen quite a lot recently, and those NFTs tend to sell a bit better than the ones who just want or are used to make athletes even richer. So 3 examples from the world of NFTs and sports, with probably the one from MotoGP being the main one. Ron, I mean, we're both bullish on the NFT market. We're both convinced. Any smart things to add, or still in the 90s mood?
Oh, sorry. Were you saying something? I was listening to music. No, just yeah, all good. I mean, expanding to new sports, MotoGP is a good one. I especially like the fact that it's hitting MotoGP, because that's a sport that can do with a wider audience. Probably you could think about where Formula One was maybe 3-4 years ago. MotoGP could use new ways to connect with younger audiences. Maybe this is a good way for them to do that. But yeah, lots of exciting news coming up from my NFT, and maybe from us in the NFT world as well. All right. Shall we? Okay. Top story of the week. Okay. I'm going to go into. Oh, sorry. Again, wrong page about where I was checking out things before. But no, we were talking about the MLB. Right. 1 second. Can you see my screen?
You know, and then he's trying to be funny and then he messes it up.
No, I wasn't trying to be funny. I was genuinely trying to make sure that, yeah, okay, there it is. Now, the MLB tries to find new ways to catch pitches. Well, the MLB season launched today, as a lot of you might already know, and there were a lot of cool things which happened. MLB announced a partnership with Tagboard, which different teams have had for a number of years, which is basically where there's a lot of social media influence or a display of social media content on the actual in stadium screens. And that was one partnership that they announced for 4 years. They've also brought back, finally, which is a really weird thing to remove, but in-game video, which was in the dugout, which they removed last year. A lot of players had issues about that because it was something that they were so used to at that point. It was removed for one random year. MLB said, no, let's bring that back. But there is another really interesting way that they are now using tech. Now, MLB has said that they will use tech to catch cheating from pitchers and to prevent pitchers from applying sticky or any sort of additional substances on the ball, right? And how they're doing this is by measuring the revolutions per minute on the ball, comparing that to a couple of standards. What is like a historical average of how many revolutions that pitcher has on that type of delivery, and also what's happening on the day. For example, in the first innings, the pitcher's pitching. Sorry, I'm confusing myself with cricket. But if he pitches a slider with a certain revs per minute, does that change in the 6th with a couple of bases loaded? Are there more revs on the slider for some reason? And is that potentially because of some additive substances? Those are the kind of checks that the MLB is bringing in. So this is use of technology directly impacting pitching. Now, this story is interesting for a couple of reasons. while the MLB has had issues with, let's say, controversies around added substances or substance abuse, specifically the home run wars with steroids, which came under a lot of scrutiny. It's been widely accepted for a while that almost 70, there was a stat I read in this article that about 70% of pitchers use something or the other, which is why a lot of teams don't report other teams, because their pitchers are using something themselves, right? So it's kind of this unwritten rule that, yeah, it kind of is okay, which is like how steroids was for a long time in the MLB. But now the board has come out and said, no, we're going to cramp down, none of this nonsense. We want to get more balls in play. And that's an interesting objective, because what they're saying is, as a result of the added substances on the ball, there were three results. There were either strikeouts, walks, or home runs. And these are the three results which came out most in play, like where the pitcher either won, or if the batter could see the pitch clean enough, because it just moved through the air that bit quicker, they could smack it cleanly and it would move off the bat even quicker. So home runs was also another added result. So by removing these added materials, what you as the user will end up seeing is more balls being in play, more RBIs scored, more bases stolen probably, because there's more action happening around the diamond, things like that, rather than just reliant on or like different types of punts and stuff, rather than just batters relying on swinging for the fences, literally. Right? I think that's an interesting thing that the MLB is trying to bring, where there is more action spread out over the 9 innings rather than just these finite bits of play. That's the goal that they're trying to achieve with clamping down on cheating. Ben, addition of tech to clamp down on cheating, I think nobody's going to say that's a bad idea, right?
Exactly, and I'm amazed what is possible with the use of tech. Two other things. I'm amazed how you explained this. It was super interesting, and I think you laid it out beautifully. Just saying. And the other thing is, I wonder how we ended up at this situation. No, once somebody invented a nice game and with the best intentions, and now we're using tech to identify cheaters. So what has happened to the game? But no, I like the fact that baseball gets more interesting. I mean, I've seen a couple baseball games myself in stadiums. I think some of the main ones to see in the US, and yeah, I think it can use some more action. And I mean, we know that the MLB is trying to get a younger audience, and that the viewership is declining a little bit. So yeah, another small step that hopefully contributes to more success.
Yeah, I would just add one thing on that story. My personal take, which I didn't get in. Yeah, of course, you have to be in support of any way efforts to clamp down cheating. But there was one element to the story which I found dodgy, which is that, okay, they're going to only use your previous benchmarks, shall we say, or the league benchmarks and your own benchmarks as a pitcher. And I think there is some leeway there. I mean, I'm sure the algorithm is built in with some leeway on both sides, what is over and under. But I've seen this happen in cricket before, where some pitchers and some bowlers in cricket, of course, are anomalies in what they can do in certain situations, and which are outside of those ranges. And suddenly, for short periods of time, those become illegal. And it's only, like, I remember Mathai Muratharan, his famous Sri Lankan bowler, legendary. He's in fact the highest wicket taker in the history of cricket, of Test cricket. So he's an absolute legit legend of the game. He was an illegal bowler for some time. And it took a lot of review and a lot of study to understand what technology was saying, and then giving it actual context in the game. And then, of course, they brought him back. But there was a period where his action, the way he rolled his arm, was under question. So I hope it doesn't create complication. I understand the goal is a good one, but I hope it doesn't create too much complication on the way to achieving it.
Exactly. It should stay simple. And if we need tech to solve it, maybe we should change the rules a little bit. But I mean, that's a long discussion.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Then that is the top 5 news. Now we're coming to the last 2 things in our show. First of all, we are speaking about the test video that we were presenting last week. And what we did was the following. Ron and I were doing a review for the first time, because we've realized that we, on our Hello SportsTech YouTube channel, have already tested 20 different sports tech products, of which 6 are football solutions. So we took some time and did a review on those 6 to compare them a little bit, put them in 3 different categories, and yeah, gave a quick run through of what we liked and what we didn't like. I think I shouldn't go through all the 6 solutions one by one, but just super quickly, we had Munin Sports, the smart rebounder. Then we had smart goals, those light lit cones for training sessions. As number 3, we had MyKicks, the AR solution that measures your shots in order to improve it. That was fun during last summer. And number 4 was Jogo, another optical solution that tracks how you're working out, gives you a few exercises to do. As you can see here, that was really fun in Winter Wonderland Berlin. And last but not least, we had 2 more solutions. One was Humanox, a smart shin guard, actually super successful on our TikTok channel with over 1.7 million views. I'm still amazed by that. And then we also had Footbar, which is a similar solution, but you put it around your shin with this strap. So it's just a little tracker and not an entire shin guard. These were the 6 solutions that we're testing, like I said, listing the pros and cons. So if you want to upgrade your game, if you want to train in a different way, I saw you struggling there on. Good that we had that scene. And yeah, then this could be something for you to give you some inspiration of yeah, what you could use for your training. Ron, what did you enjoy the most?
I'm not enjoying the Schadenfreude that I can see. Every time something bad happens to me, you seem to love it. It hurts me, man. But no, it was which was my favorite solution. Oof, that's a tough one. I remember we had a lot of fun with MyKicks, with Formalytics. I remember that because the technology was so cool and it looked so interesting when we first tested it. Also, it was one of our first few videos that I enjoyed. The Jogo video looked beautiful, just you in that white kind of ocean snow. That was really cool. Yeah, with some good solutions, some good videos I think we came up with.
I agree. All right, bring it home with our +1.
All right, my favorite story of the week, I have to admit. So this is not from the sports universe, but I think this is an idea that could be easily seeded, pun intended, into the sports world. Ben is shaking his head at my funny business. But no, we actually found this story. It was launched by an accelerated program in Malmö, which I hope I pronounced correctly. Ben lived there for a while, which is how this came on his radar. But it's actually, you're reading it right, a pre-seed accelerator for founders from the age of 3 to 9. I kid you not. Look at these guys. They are sharp, epic. Look, they got their Zoom accounts all hooked up. Couple of details of the kind of areas that they were covering: candy tech, toy tech, of course, expected, but the most interesting one, I thought, SaaS for puppies. And I could see that use case. I mean, thinking about products around training, house training, potty training, cleaning services, grooming services, yeah, and how you could digitalize a lot of these things. Very interesting work. One female founder, so good representation demographically as well, celebrating Women's Month, and a lot of the pitches were on TikTok. Talk about technology taking a new age. Now, here are some of the winners. A lollipop finder. I thought that was an interesting to scan basically neighborhood for the closest candy store in case you need a candy rush that you're looking for. And basically they had some study with participants. Happy Pup, which is a way to measure the pup's happiness. Share a toy. I think there were some issues with that one. I read later that there was some, basically some spread of disease thing because the toy has to get shared. So the cleaning was a process, and that was a bit of a tricky one, but interesting idea. Rental toys, of course. Rental economy is a big thing, the economy topic. Study Buddy. AI-powered smart toy, bringing buzzwords in, but actually helping kids learn new languages, which I thought was interesting. Klingon, especially important for young kids. I mean, Star Trek is a rite of passage for any young adult. And Star Coach, just helping kids become musicians. Yeah, I think I know which one is my favorite. Ben, what did you like?
Yeah, I mean, big shout out to Fast Track Malmö. I was working for them for a while. That's how I came across it, and yeah, I think it's good that we take the time for it at the beginning of this new quarter, April 1st. I was trying to like translate that to the world of sports, and then I was like, some issues kids might have. It's like, I mean, how to play football if you cannot walk yet? So how to play football with your head, for example, right? Could be something. Maybe some early content for kids if they want to at least visually understand, read the game already. You know, like early knowledge transfer, right. These kind of things. Anything else that comes to your mind? What could happen there?
I mean, uniform diapers. I mean, diapers being a collective thing, yeah. But I think that's some interesting, like the idea of creating teams of diaper, like using diapers to be in a teams. I think there's a lot of opportunities.
Diaper United, maybe some content play as well.
Diaper United, I think that's a really good one. You can see get the kids getting all up and messy in that. I think this is a good one.
Or when you said lollipop finder, I mean. My niece, she's 9 months old. I mean, when she loses her toy or her toy ball, like in that case, she goes nuts. I mean, if you want to play, you know, if you're ready for training and you cannot find the ball, maybe it's not the lollipop finder, but maybe it's the ball finder.
Yeah, true.
So, tons of it for the sports world. Yeah,
absolutely. Great story to end the note on. Yeah, on today, the 1st of April.
Yeah. Seeing the eyes through seeing the world through the eyes of children. That's the right way to say. Fantastic. I let you hang out with Brandy and Monica on April 1st. Special day always. You want to say something?
I'm Team Brandy. Team Brandy.
I'm Team Jordan.
All right, guys. That's another episode. Have fun. Go check out the Diaper Tech. Diaper United, please sign up. We're gonna
and happy Easter weekend for everyone who's celebrating. See you next week.
Ciao.